Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So, for this afternoon's topic, we will be discussing about strengthening your supply chain through digitization. And our very excited and enthusiastic speaker for this afternoon is Mr. Benny Yang. So, Benny is my colleague from our Esri Singapore Solutions team, and he is one of our senior geospatial consultants in the team. He focuses on implementing established IT and GIS strategies and is very active in promoting geospatial thinking to support the development of a strategic vision for both domestic and regional clients. And also, Benny is our lead consultant for our enterprise cluster in the team. So without further ado, let me hand over the floor to Benny.
Thank you, Zara. So in today's era, global supply chain organizations face unprecedented market pressures. Supply chain innovation will then determine which companies succeed as traditional practices are disrupted. So these disrupted supply chain practices force leaders to pursue transformative strategies to overcome these challenges of an increasingly complex environment. So determining how to innovate begins with understanding how buyer behaviors and technology are shaping the supply chain landscape. So today's global goods and services providers face an increasingly complex network of physical and digital elements. To get ahead of market pressures and outperform the competition, companies need to completely transform their traditional supply chain philosophy and thinking. The era of linear supply chain is already over. Being able to visualize supply chain operations such as the linear points along the value chain from supplier to end user leads to discrete processes conducted in information science. If the step-by-step approach is continuing to be pursued, there will be data gaps or errors occurred without understanding of the implications to the downstream recipients. Poor or missing data continues to flow through the chain and is magnified, creating a ripple effect, causing not only cost concerns, but also from the production aspects. These highly disruptive consequences will result in the highest value resources placed in firefighting mode.
Okay, now let's have a poll and look at some of the usual questions that we ask in supply chain. So we encourage everyone to cast your votes regarding this poll. Now, what are the three most important metrics to measure supply chain performance in your organization? Okay, now let's go ahead and have a look. So 9% shared that cash to cash time cycle, 18% shared that it's freight bill accuracy, 9%, okay, there we go. Another 9% shared that it's base sales outstanding. A great chunk, 45% of our attendees said that it's inventory turnover, and 18% mentioned others. So maybe later on, or you can ask questions regarding what those metrics are for those who have answered others. Okay, so now let me hand over the floor to Benny.
Thank you, Zara. So with what is being said, location intelligence is central to supply chain digitalization. Manufacturers move high volumes in a dynamic and risky global environment. To be agile, all stakeholders must know what is happening and where in real time. Location intelligence has a very critical role to play in contemporary supply chain strategies and operations. By digitizing the supply chain, it helps you combine your live data and location data in a single dashboard, giving leaders a brand new end-to-end operational awareness and analysis. By having the whole picture at your fingertips, supply chain operators and managers can improve efficiency, prevent disruption, and gain competitive advantages. All along, Geospatial specialists have long used GIS to monitor their network assets, suppliers and distribution sites, and the environment in which all these things are in place, be it dynamic or stationary. And therefore, supply chain digitalization with location technology helps you to deliver valuable insights, such as real-time status, supply and service area gaps, and opportunities. You can then access and also analyze Internet of Things data for continuous improvement and receive alerts where disruptions occur or where your SLA agreements are at risk. So how does location intelligence helps to translate this into business benefits? So first of all, it helps you to fulfill your market demand faster and smarter. Being able to keep pace with the global market pressures has never been so complex or demanding. Using location intelligence will provide you with real-time and predictive insights, coupling your data from existing operational systems with live external feeds that can deliver actionable insights to accelerate your decision making. From there, you can reach more customers, find a white space, and realize your full market potential. Secondly, maximize your supplier and distribution performance by continuing to monitor the network and highlighting the risks in real time. Being able to quickly visualize, analyze your global network operations in a holistic view and instantly seeing and investigating incidents before they disrupt the business. Customer expectations for quality, service, and maintenance are increasing, whether be it to service a large excavator in a mine or just replace a faulty internet switch. Location intelligence will identify bottlenecks where you may lack coverage and risk not meeting your customer service level agreements. So with location intelligence, you'll be able to have increased customer engagements and loyalty, better service delivery, and less systems disruption and better response. So now we are going to share more on the supply chain performance and visibility solution, which will help you get all the data you need to proactively manage the supply chain. With this, you're able to predict where the supply chain could fail, take preventive measurements, and use the data from existing systems to create real-time predictive intelligence from maps and spatial analysis that improves your performance. This will help you strengthen your visibility into your supply chain to mitigate disruptions and grow new markets.
Okay, so let's go ahead and have another poll regarding this one. Let me share that with everyone. Okay, so which of these top inventory carrying expenses cost your organization the most? So please select one, and again, we'll give about a minute for everybody to pitch in their answers. So most of you so far have been answering the first three options. All right. So let's share our results. So I think for most of our attendees in this webinar, it's really the top three choices or three options that we have here, which are freight, storage, and labor. So freight and labor are tied at both 45% in terms of the top inventory carrying expenses. So with that, let's head right back to our presentation.
So now let us move into the solution components and patterns. So the first most important thing of our solution is to visualize a global operating picture for supply chain risk management. Managers, suppliers, employees, and customers have a common need to know what is happening and where it's happening in real time. GIS technology unites the live operational data and multi-layer geospatial data in a single view to help you enhance your operational awareness. It can help you answer the different questions as shown on this slide, and whether planning for future supply chain requirements or reacting to real-time incidents. Live operational data in geographical context enables you to have faster response time, being able to reduce operational costs, and improve your service levels, resulting in better customer outcomes. The next component is about enabling tracing. In addition to understanding what is in the market and where it's located, supply chain organization can use GIS to immediately visualize the complete end-to-end relationships and dependencies from suppliers to production, distribution, and even the end buyer. But knowing all of this tracing isn't sufficient. Companies must be able to interrogate the data based on what's at risk and what patterns are emerging in order to predict problems before they surface. GIS provides this capability. If there is an incident such as a threat or recall happening in a region, or if a production center is at risk, a manager can immediately visualize the exposure, see where is the issue originated from, and work through the risk or the threat at any given time to minimize the impact and repercussion. So the supply chain is always business as usual, 365 days a year, 24 hours from 7 a day. Dynamic and stationary assets can be anywhere, everywhere. Suppliers, workers, and customers are also located around the globe, spanning your time zones and borders. So in addition to this real-time operational data, you can also ingest current weather conditions, environmental concerns, and even regional traffic issues. So with the help of alerts, it can help supply chain managers be proactive when the assets are in danger. For example, when a ship encounters a severe typhoon threat, supply chain managers can take action to change the ship path and advise the distributor of the delay and monitor the safety of the crew. With this single operational view, it's possible to get alerts related to all aspects of the supply chain, especially when there's potential of missing your service level agreement requirements. These alerts can be tailored by region, category, so that only the appropriate managers get involved. So in this example, a regional operations manager can take a look at alerts specific to his or her territory and find out what's causing a critical delivery delay. So alerts to key personnel about the map updates, events recording, interactions with other enterprise systems can all be initiated and sent across multiple channels, such as email, text, and instant messaging. I think the next component is a pattern is about understanding the service levels and the gaps, which is very important because the supply chain goes beyond distribution, where organization needs to understand access to and the coverage of their customer base. This information is very easily mapped and visualized to include the locations of service centers, distribution centers, and the related drive times, and then used to better serve your customers. Companies can use location intelligence to deliver reliable service level contracts, identify the best locations for service depots, your technicians and spare part warehousing to meet the SLA requirements. And you'll also be able to report those SLAs that are at risk of being unfulfilled. So through the understanding of the service level and gaps, you're being able to better optimize your service performance. All service providers want to deliver world-class outcomes for their customers. Based on the locations of your customers' installations, a supply chain thought leader can analyze the drive times between the sites and the service depots to prescribe SLAs. This location intelligence will also help the companies optimize parts and technician resources through the understanding of the landscape of the installed base, related data SLAs, and where gaps or coverage occurs.
Okay, so now let's go ahead and have our final poll for this webinar. So we've seen some of the capabilities that the solution showcase regarding the supply chain workflow offerings are. So for now, which of the following technology would help augment your supply chain business workflows? So for this question, you may select more than one technology or offering. Okay, good turnout of votes. And I can see that really, I think every option can be of help um, to our attendees organizations for this afternoon. So 10 more seconds for voting. Okay, so let's have a look at our results. Right, so the majority voted that real-time IoT and open data fusion and data analytics would really help aid their current business workflows. We also have location tracking and workforce management coming in at second. Third would be optimized navigation, and a close fourth is command dashboards. And then finally, we have live ground inspection and reporting as well. So maybe we can further explore this as we move along with, especially during the demo that Benny has prepared for this afternoon. Right. So, Benny, over to you again.
Thank you, Zara. So let's now explore a real-life scenario for a manufacturing company. So manufacturing companies' marketing strategies and sales managers use spatial analytics to quickly examine potential high-performing markets. They correlate the proven demographic patterns, sales trends, and marketing mix and other data such as regulatory compliance. Maps and geospatial analysis give this team an advantage because they will be able to reach the best markets ahead of competition. So the managers, they will visualize all aspects of the supply chain to understand the performance in real time and see how everything is connected from factory, suppliers to even customers. So based on the current activities, they can proactively plan for issues that might occur across the network. So a magnitude 7 earthquake has disrupted the supply chain in Italy. An alert and notify the manager and her team that the components will be delayed for an unknown amount of time. Being able to be informed of the situation, the team immediately contacts other suppliers to source components and minimize the disruption. So they can continue to monitor closely the safety of the employees and partners and also the outcome of the sourcing of the components. So maps and spatial analysis not only show supply chain performance, they also provide the insights on where the company is missing, meeting or exceeding service level gaps. With this data clearly mapped, the staff can focus on areas where they need to expand coverage with more competitive service levels and product offerings. Being armed with insightful maps and analysis, executives can act fast to respond to market activities. At the same time, they can reduce supply chain disruptions because real-time dashboard can help to keep people throughout the company focused on what matters the most to their network, customers, and partners. These actions made will result in significant growth and customer satisfaction. So without further ado, let us go to the presentation demo. I want to introduce you to a dashboard showing the global awareness across your supply chain network. You can see that a map and several other components in this dashboard that describes and measure performance of the supply chain. It's not just about our plants, your tier 1, tier 2 suppliers, but it's about the information that we are capturing from other sources such as hurricanes, earthquakes. We want to bring all of this together in a spatial context so that you can understand the impacts of the things on us and on our supply chain operations. Information can be aggregated and dashboard can be created out of this type of things so that we can look at whatever is happening with our plants, our suppliers. We can zoom in and take a look at a particular data set that has an impact on the service locations. So starting from this map here, you can see how spread out the plants are and layering with tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers. And this gives you a good idea of the number of plants, suppliers, and the long distance between them. We can ingest different types of data, ranging from operational data, open data, to even IoT data to see how the different challenges become magnified by the different factors affecting the supply chain. So in this dashboard, environmental open data such as earthquakes, you can see there's an earthquake here. So such as earthquake, typhoon, and their observed and forecast threats and intensity are all ingested and will help you identify the likely impacted areas and suppliers. As you can see, the affected plants are blinking. Notification alerts to inform us real time which plants could be in danger. And so by clicking this particular plant, you can see that it will give you more information about what is happening on the ground. For example, plant 7, there's a capacity of 71 and a run rate of 17.75. And the performance matrix will tell you how is it performing. And of course, not forgetting the important risk measures, be it a flood index and a combined risk index, and who you may want to contact should anything happen. So currently, it is being threatened by an event. So this dashboard is also configured to show you important operational metrics like affected plants, your tier 1, tier 2 suppliers, and help us understand our supply chain, how is it performing? And you can see those little charts here on the right, and they change based on what we are seeing on the screen. So you can see it changes from affected plants 2 to 3 based on the shifting of the maps. And you can also zoom into the affected plants very easily. So I want to zoom in now to plant 17. And similarly, you can detail the information such as the capacity, performance matrices, and risk by clicking in and zooming in. And not only that, you can also categorize zoom in through the category here and view your dashboard not only into this context, but also 48 hours, 24 hours, and these matrices can all be easily configured. Next, let me show you a separate demo. We have a car battery manufacturer who needs to understand the demand in order to know the number of, sorry, yeah. So we have a car manufacturers who needs to understand the demand in order to know the number of batteries he needs to produce to supply to the market. And through a map, he can better understand the market growth of the vehicle market and the sales number by location and area. And of course, you can fuse it with demographic data. So by clicking on one particular part in the map, you can see that the market of this particular area is actually 5,844. So the benefits would be in terms of understanding the market expectations and optimize your production accordingly to the market demand. Then it is about understanding supply chain flow from suppliers to manufacturers, the dependencies, and the service coverage. This will help you better plan for supply redundancy and for upward or downward tracing. Next, distribution center site analysis can be also performed through our platform to help you understand how much customers can your distribution center serve and if there are any service gaps. In this example, the manufacturer of the battery might consider to set up another DC at Pittsburgh where there is a service gap which is not covered by DC2 or DC3. And if there are service gap for the DCs, it is important that we determine who will be responsible for serving those customers. Here you can perform drive time analysis to understand the time and distance required to meet the KPI. Of course, it is then to be time to be on the road for delivery. Routing and real-time visibility for the drivers, trucks is extremely important to be proactive against sudden incidents that may disrupt the delivery. In this scenario, with a customer who needs to have 100 battery units delivered by 10 p.m. So DC2, as you can see here, it has sufficient inventory of 224 and is ready to deliver. The delivery trucks can set up in the early morning to complete the order. However, Murphy's Law, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. The delivery truck is being delayed by a major traffic incident on its route, and this will cause an extended delivery by 4 hours. So this is a very important customer for the manufacturer. With real-time location of the truck and awareness of the live traffic, the manufacturer supply chain operators can take responsive actions to ensure that the customers can still receive their goods. So how does the risk mitigation then take place? By having the location and the inventory level of all the DCs available, the battery manufacturer realized he can actually deploy another DC nearby with sufficient inventory to make the delivery on time by 10 p.m. So the customers will be satisfied and the deadline will be met. So it is with DC1 that is able to help to fulfill the supply demand. So how do we move forward in a transformed world for supply chain? The emergence of increasingly powerful geospatial technology helps supply chain innovators tackle the many new challenges they face on the journey to achieve higher performance in a smarter and more complex world. By being able to take advantage of location intelligence as a key part of stakeholders' communication and collaboration, this technology will become more accessible, flexible, and powerful. Geospatial technology will also allow improved operational management of the supply chain network. As the digital supply chain evolves from traditional linear models to complex interconnected systems, manager will require more precise and granular location information for key processes such as end-to-end tracing, real-time tracking, and alerting and service delivery. So this marks the end of my presentation. Should you have further interests and questions, you may contact me, and this is my email and LinkedIn. And if you feel you want to have some training on the ArcGIS technology, we also have course training available. You can check out the training calendar for further details.
Great. Thank you, Benny. Let's now have a look and open the floor for questions. So I see that some of you have already submitted questions now. So feel free to still submit your questions and we will be addressing them. So Benny has also provided his email address. So if you have a more specific inquiry pertaining to a pain point that you have in your current workflow for your organization, you can also contact us and start the discussion offline regarding those. But for now, let me read out some of the questions that we have here. Okay, so Benny, first question is, we have different users in charge of territorial areas. How can the dashboard allow different user groups to see different information relevant to them?
Okay, good question. Okay, so this type of dashboard created is often based on who is it meant for and the information that you want to convey. So different dashboards can therefore be configured for different user groups. So some of them could be for operational stakeholders, designed to tell them what is it happening right now, while you can match the quickly changing nature of the incidents, events, etc. So some other dashboards are more strategic and more ideal for executive levels and senior managers or management whom are more interested to monitor the organization key performance indicators, KPIs or matrices. So we also have other dashboards that are analytical and used to identify the data trends or even interesting characteristics of the data. Yeah, I hope this clarifies the question.
Great. Thanks, Benny. And also, I think we have some course offerings for ArcGIS dashboards, so you can also check out the training calendar regarding that if you would like to know more about it. Next question, Benny. We currently have IoT sensors to monitor the shipment's location and overall condition, so such as fluctuations in temperature and humidity, pressure, shock, and etc. That could occur during transit. Can your platform take in these data?
Okay. Uh, yeah, I think you rightfully pointed out, as depicted in my presentation, we do indicated that IoT sensors, the data from there is very important nowadays in the digital supply chain world. So on ArcGIS platform, we do have what we call the Geo Event Server, which takes care of the real-time data integration, allows you to connect with real-time data streams. So be it whether you're tracking your dynamic uh, assets like vehicle or stationary assets like warehouse or even inventory. So being able to connect with the IoT sensors, mobile devices, or even following your your social media feeds is all okay. You can tap into all this and analyze and display the real time and the IoT data on your maps. So what this technology about, it actually accommodates your multiple streams of data flowing through continuously through the user-defined filters. So you can filter what you want to see and process the steps that allow you to focus on only the most important aspects of your operations and what is important and close to your heart. So furthermore, you can also define analytics to identify patterns of interest in your multiple streams of data. Yeah, I hope
Okay.
this answered the question as well.
Mm. Thanks, Benny. So, yeah, I think we have a product that can work with that particular data type in order for you to complete the whole data analysis within the Esri platform. Okay, so I think we can go for two more questions. Let me go with okay, this is the question. You have mentioned about workflow mobility technologies. Can your mobility apps integrate together for the different workflows? So examples are inspections, field crew management, and navigation.
Okay. So I think these workflow mobility technologies appear in our poll. Yeah. So
Yeah.
can so what the question is about is asking if our mobility apps can integrate the different types of workflow, right? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we do have multiple apps. For example, one we have is called the ArcGIS Workforce Management web application. So this allows a dispatcher to quickly and efficiently create work assignments and assign to the field workers. So field workers, once they are being assigned a task, they will receive notifications on the assigned task on the mobile device. They can accept the task and then proceed to navigate to the site because our different mobile apps have an integration. So this has an integration with a navigator mobile app. So upon reaching the site, after taking on the most optimized path, the particular field crew, he can switch on to a data collection app, what we call ArcGIS Collector, which can be integrated to the workforce, so that workforce can open the right map and locate the assignments for rapid data collection. There, the field worker can then uh, proceed to collect the data for the inspections. So in addition to what I mentioned here, ArcGIS Workforce Collector, it also can be configured to launch other S3 mobile apps to provide your field crew on the ground with a very seamless experience working with the ArcGIS platform. So for example, ArcGIS Explorer and Survey 123 as well.
All right. Thanks, Benny. So yeah, Benny has mentioned a lot of apps actually that can perform specific functions for your field operations. So just in the recently concluded SU Singapore User Conference, we had a presentation regarding field maps and applications. So you can rewatch that particular presentation on our SU Singapore website. And let's have our final question for this webinar. So the question is, Does Esri utilize machine learning algorithm to forecast future states or disruptions in the supply chain?
So does Esri utilize machine learning algorithm to forecast future states and disruptions? Okay, so Esri platform as a whole, we do have machine learning's capability and even Geo AI capabilities. So what we are able to do is we can uh, leverage on the different data science libraries to carry out machine learning algorithms. So by combining location intelligence and artificial intelligence, you can bridge the gap between your supply chain forecastings and the actual consumer demands. So some of the data science libraries that actually uh, we can integrate do includes the uh, scikit-learn, TensorFlow, and etc. You can also make use of other uh, programming technologies like Pandas, R, Python to help you to enhance and augment your supply chain forecasting as well.
Great. All right. Thank you, Benny. So yeah, also again, going back to the user conference, we had a presentation from Omar Meher, the lead director for AI from Esri Incorporated. So you can also watch that presentation regarding this question if you are interested in machine learning algorithms as well. Great. So with that, that concludes our webinar on strengthening your supply chain workflows for this afternoon. Again, we are currently recording this webinar and it will be made available on our website, both the recording and the slide deck that Benny has prepared. So we would like to thank everybody who has attended the webinar for this afternoon. Please do fill in the feedback form at the end of this webinar once we have closed off our broadcast. And please stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you and goodbye.